Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you tonight as a common citizen of no particular standing, yet I feel compelled on this anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic to not allow this moment in history to pass without making mention of the heroic act of sacrifice made by those men who on this night 100 years ago laid down their lives that meant women and children might live. The principle of women and children first was forever etched into our national consciousness that night, though over the years this high standard of commitment and chivalry has lost much of its influence in our national affairs. 100 years ago, at this very hour, men were standing on the deck of the Titanic, faced with an awful and momentous choice, whether to be governed by their own self-interest or to stand courageously firm for the principle that honors first, above themselves, the lives of those whom duty compels all men to protect and defend. Women and children first is a call that echoes down to us through the decades, but like a failing echo, its call reaches us but faintly now in this more enlightened age. Today, it seems almost anachronistic to be standing here at a monument to men who gave their lives in such a cause. Yet it falls upon our shoulders to carry this duty and renew our commitment to this sacred vow. In the 21st century, we find ourselves living in a society in which the call of women and children first is met with, at best, apathy, and at worst, outright scorn. Those who carry this banner must be prepared for accusations of sexism and outdated idealism. But I contend that this principle must not be allowed to sink into the abyss like the Titanic, but we must redeem this notion and stand firm on our nation's deck, prepared like those men 100 years ago to give our all for this cause, even as the waters of materialism, pride, selfishness, and immorality rise ever higher around us. Our call to duty is rooted in the scriptures themselves, which call upon men to love their wives, even as Christ loved his church. Christ gave his life for the sake of his redeemed ones. And likewise, we are enjoined to love and care for our families with the same degree of commitment as was demonstrated by our Savior in his ultimate act of sacrificial love upon the cross. When viewed properly, the call of women and children first is not a directive to diminish, degrade, or imprison those whom men are called to protect and defend, nor is it a pledge to place women on a pedestal as china dolls who must be coddled lest they become chipped. Rather, this call to place women and children first is to recognize that which was at one time held as axiomatic, that no society can long endure which makes waste of its future generation, and which places obstacles in the way of women who are uniquely equipped, physically and emotionally, to nurture the generation of those who will come after us. And so, ladies and gentlemen, as we pause tonight to remember those who went down with the ship 100 years ago in the icy waters of the North Atlantic, let us tonight renew our commitment to the noble ideal for which they gave their lives. Let us think about the implications if we should shrink from this commitment, and let us not fail to do our duty as we are called, as they were that night, to place first in importance above our own the lives and well-being of women and children.